Picture this, Boston Harbor, 1773. The air is thick with tension. A time when the American colonies were simmering, stewing under the thumb of the British rule. A time when the seeds of rebellion were sown, and the winds of change were starting to blow. Let's take a step back and understand the political and economic landscape of the time. The American colonies were under the British Empire, bound by the rules and regulations imposed by a distant king. The colonists were feeling the weight of these laws, especially the tax laws. The British Parliament had been imposing a series of taxes on the colonies, the most infamous being the Stamp Act and the Townshend Acts. These were not just any taxes, they were taxes the colonists had no say in. This was taxation without representation, a concept that fueled resentment towards the British. The colonists felt exploited, used for the wealth they could generate but denied the rights they deserved. This resentment was not just a fleeting feeling, it was a growing force, a mounting wave of discontent that was about to break. In the midst of this tension, a group emerged, a group that would become a catalyst in the coming revolution. They were called the Sons of Liberty. These were not just any men, they were patriots determined to stand up against what they saw as unjust British rule. They started as a secret society, working behind the scenes to resist the British laws, but their influence was about to burst into the open. The Sons of Liberty, under the leadership of figures like Samuel Adams and John Hancock, were ready to make a statement that would shake the very foundations of the British Empire. The stage was set, the players were ready, and the spark was about to ignite. Little did they know, their actions that night would echo through the annals of history. And so, the story of the Boston Tea Party begins, a story of defiance, rebellion, and the birth of a nation. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into this pivotal moment in history, a moment that would forever change the course of a nation. As darkness fell on the 16th of December, a group of men made a decision that would change the course of history. Under the cover of night, the Sons of Liberty, a secret society of American patriots, donned disguises. Disguised as Mohawk Indians, they set their plan into motion, a plan born from the seed of defiance and watered by the spirit of revolution. Their target? 3 British ships anchored in Boston Harbor, the Dartmouth, the Eleanor, and the Beaver. Laden with chests of tea, these vessels represented the tyranny of the British Empire, the heavy hand of taxation without representation, and a symbol of the colonists' subjugation. Under the watchful eyes of their leaders, men like Samuel Adams and Paul Revere, the Sons of Liberty boarded these ships. There was no violence, no unnecessary altercations. Their mission was clear, and their resolve unshakable. They were there for one thing, and one thing only: the tea. The air was thick with tension as the first chest was hoisted up. A hush fell over the assembled crowd on the docks, the anticipation palpable. Then, with a mighty heave, the chest was hurled overboard. The splash that followed echoed across the silent harbor, a stark declaration of defiance that reverberated through the night. One by one, the chests of tea were thrown overboard, each splash a punctuation in a sentence of rebellion, each chest a symbol of a people's determination to fight for their rights. The act was not just about the tea, it was a symbolic gesture of defiance, a message to the British Crown that the American colonies would no longer tolerate their oppressive policies. The tea, once a symbol of British dominance, now lay at the bottom of Boston Harbor, a testament to the American spirit of resistance. As dawn broke, the Sons of Liberty vanished into the morning mist, leaving behind a changed world. Their act of defiance had set in motion a series of events that would ultimately lead to revolution. By dawn, 342 chests of tea lay at the bottom of Boston Harbor. The sun rose on a changed Boston. The ripples of the previous night's defiance would be felt far and wide. The morning after the Boston Tea Party, there was a strange sense of calm. The once bustling harbor was now eerily silent, its waters tainted by the remnants of the destroyed tea chests. But beneath this outward tranquility, a storm was brewing. The British response was swift and severe. They were enraged by the audacious act of rebellion. In retaliation, they enacted the coercive acts, known by the colonists as the Intolerable Acts. These punitive measures included the closure of Boston Harbor until the destroyed tea was paid for, and the Massachusetts Government Act, which effectively put the colony under British military rule. This was a clear demonstration of their determination to assert their authority over the defiant colonists. Undeniably, the Intolerable Acts further escalated the tension between the British and the colonists. It was a stark reminder of the colonists' lack of representation in the British government. Their resentment towards their British overlords grew stronger, their cries for freedom louder. The Boston Tea Party had been a spark, and the intolerable acts poured fuel onto the already smoldering embers of discontent. For the colonists, the Tea Party and its aftermath were a turning point. It was no longer just about taxation without representation. It was about their rights, their liberties, their future. The events of that fateful night and the British response that followed had pushed them to the edge. They were no longer willing to tolerate British rule without a voice in their governance. The realization was dawning that they might have to fight for their freedom. The Boston Tea Party had not just been an act of defiance, it was a statement, a stand, a daring declaration of the colonists' resolve to resist their oppressors. It was a pivotal moment that set the stage for the larger conflict to come. The seeds of rebellion had been sown. The actions of a few brave men had set in motion a series of events that would lead to the unimaginable. The Boston Tea Party wasn't just about tea or taxation. It was a bold act of defiance against British rule that would ultimately lead to the American Revolution. In the aftermath of the Tea Party, a wave of revolutionary fervor swept across the colonies. The British government's harsh response, known as the Intolerable Acts, only fueled the flames of rebellion. The colonists, feeling the weight of British oppression, began to unify in their fight for freedom. In September of 1774, a year after the Boston Tea Party, 56 delegates from 12 of the 13 colonies convened in Philadelphia for the First Continental Congress. Their objective? To protest the intolerable acts and to petition the British Crown for a redress of grievances. The Congress marked a significant step towards colonial unity and resistance against British rule. Fast forward to April of 1775 to the small towns of Lexington and Concord. Here, the first military engagements of the American Revolutionary War took place. British forces, intending to seize and destroy colonial military supplies, were met with armed resistance. The shot heard round the world, as famed poet Ralph Waldo Emerson would later call it, marked the start of a bloody war for American independence. The Boston Tea Party was a catalyst, a spark that ignited the revolutionary spirit in the American colonies. It was a symbol of resistance, of the determination of a people to fight for their rights and their freedom. But it was also the beginning of a long and arduous journey, a path fraught with challenges and sacrifices. The path to revolution was not easy. It was paved with the blood and sweat of countless patriots who believed in the dream of a free and independent nation. It was a path marked by courage and resilience, by the indomitable spirit of a people unwilling to bow to tyranny. In the end, the Boston Tea Party was more than an act of defiance. It was the spark that ignited the flames of revolution, and those flames, once lit, could not be extinguished. They would burn brightly, lighting the way to a new nation, a new future, and a new era of freedom and independence. The spark had ignited the flames of revolution. The Boston Tea Party, more than an act of defiance, became a symbol of the struggle for freedom. This event was more than just a protest against taxation without representation. It was a pivotal moment, a spark that ignited the flames of revolution, leading to the birth of a nation founded on the principles of liberty and justice for all. The Sons of Liberty, dressed as Mohawk Indians, threw 342 chests of tea into Boston Harbor. It was a symbolic act, a message to the British Crown, that the American colonies would no longer tolerate their oppressive rule. This act of rebellion resonated through the colonies, inspiring a spirit of resistance that eventually culminated in the American Revolution. But the legacy of the Boston Tea Party goes beyond the historical context of the event. It has become an enduring symbol of protest and freedom, a testament to the power of the people to resist tyranny and fight for their rights. It exemplifies the courage and determination of ordinary individuals who dared to stand up against an empire, to demand their rights, and fight for their freedom. Today, the Boston Tea Party is remembered not only as a major event in American history, but also as a symbol of the American spirit. Its legacy can be seen in every protest, every act of civil disobedience, every fight for justice and equality. It serves as a reminder of the power of collective action, of the potential for change that lies in the hands of the people. It is a testament to the enduring spirit of rebellion against injustice, of the fight for freedom, and the pursuit of a better future. The Boston Tea Party was more than just a moment in history. It was the spark that ignited a revolution, the birth of a nation, the beginning of a legacy that continues to shape the world we live in today. In the spirit of the Boston Tea Party, the flame of liberty continues to burn bright, a beacon for all those who yearn for freedom.